Why so many American homes are flimsy, or basically why they suck.
It's interesting to see that because American homes are very expensive.
Yeah, they're getting up to like, in the more expensive states, $1 million for a small little home.
Yeah, so I'm curious to see what actually goes into it. We're not the most blue collar workers, not the most construction people. We have no clue what goes into building a house or anything. So
I've built many houses, many times.
sorry, I should have just spoke for myself.
Back before YouTube, I was like a construction worker, definitely.
Yeah, you built the Bezos mansion, right?
Yeah, actually I did.
Yeah,
Thank you very
yeah.
much. Let's check it out. My assumption, American houses are built of
Wood.
and European houses are built of stone.
Yeah.
If that's the whole theme of this video and they just drug it out for 8 minutes, I'm going to be a little bit disappointed,
That
but
would be
let's
sad.
see.
Conversations through the walls. Footsteps up the stairs. Banging pots in the kitchen when you're across the house. That's just life in most American homes. Walls are thin and the opposite of soundproof. American homes.
One sec. Those are some of those houses there that would cost hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Walls are thin and the opposite of soundproof. And something always needs to be fixed. And most homes aren't even that old. There should be no excuse that they're falling apart. But why are they like this, especially when other areas have sturdy, thick houses that last hundreds and hundreds of years?
The answer isn't just capitalism, so don't click off the video just yet.
It's actually a lot more complex, and the solution isn't easy.
If
not
you're looking
just
for one
capitalism.
quick thing to blame, you can look towards George Washington's snow.
In 1832, the civil engineer was tasked with building a Chicago warehouse as quickly as possible from the local softwood. So he got creative. Snow used 2x4s to assemble hollow walls, several stories high. The method let individual workers handle assembly, leaving only one person to nail it all into place. Snow completed the warehouse in record time. The method was called balloon framing, and it became the construction method of choice in Chicago.
Crazy that it's basically just like a way to set up just like a fake building almost. Just put up these walls that are so thin and hollow that they're could be knocked down by somebody running into them, and that was the solution.
It's probably, I bet you it's the same thing that they use on movie sets to create
Yeah,
like a fake
definitely.
movie set quick.
If you see like a movie set, it's usually just a very thin wall held up by some boards.
Yeah.
That's so crazy. And then they're like, hey, this is quick. I bet we could churn these out and sell them for a lot more than we build them for.
Money.
Balloon framing didn't take off until the 1940s, when America was experiencing a post-war boom period. More Americans had money than ever before, and they wanted the American dream, a house. They could suddenly afford to buy homes in sprawling new suburbs, and contractors knew they could make a killing if they could produce enough homes to satisfy the demand. Balloon framing and its successor, platform framing, allowed contractors to frame houses basically overnight. But there was something unique about balloon framing that made it only feasible in certain countries, like the US and Canada, and not in Europe.
Balloon framing requires a massive quantity of long, mature trees.
And America had an abundance of super tall, mature trees. Plus, it was an easy and cheap construction material for the newly growing suburbs. Wood is sturdy, yet flexible enough to withstand low-intensity earthquakes and tornadoes. If you want to hear about all of wood's good qualities, check out our video on the subject here. In Europe, wood is
Did
still
I say
incredible on
wooden
the subject here.
skyscrapers?
Yeah, I think so. No, we don't get to see more from Cheddar.
It's not.
The way they said it in the video made it seem like it would be the most boring video ever, learning about wood. But the title on what it was seemed interesting.
Wooden skyscrapers. I mean, if that's I guess they said it's more resistant to earthquakes. But how would that last if one rotted away and just start collapsing?
You can get termites and such.
Scary.
In Europe, wood is still incredibly expensive because so few forests remain, and what they do
Too many
have
people there
is
for too
heavily
long.
protected. So the average European home is built with brick, stone, or concrete, and they're many centuries old. These materials can be sturdier and safer than wood. A concrete masonry wall has a, shocker, higher fire insulation property rating compared to a wooden frame wall. One of these concrete walls has a fire rating of around 4 hours till it's destroyed, as compared to a wooden framed wall, which only has a rating of around an hour. Insurance carriers also have long-term data suggesting that homes constructed of brick are less likely to be destroyed by natural hazards. And if saving money is your game, the U.S. Department of Energy estimates that you could save $340 a month, or over $4,000 a year on heating and cooling if you live in a brick house over a wood one.
Oh, interesting.
It's estimated that losses from wildfires have added up to $5.1 billion over the past 10 years, a number made even more bloated by all the wood-framed houses.
Now, to be clear, wood isn't necessarily a bad building material.
I mean, take a look at the Fairbanks House in Dedham, Massachusetts. It's been standing since 1637.
Whoa.
But in general, wood is harder to maintain. In fact, without maintenance, many houses won't make it to 30 years.
And to many Americans,
30
that's
years.
just the right amount of time.
The U.S. Census says that the average American moves houses 11 times in their lifetime. That figure across 16 European countries? About 4 times.
Dang.
Since Americans are constantly moving their homes, they don't need them to last as long. They expect a semi-new home wherever they go because with the increased owner turnover, regular maintenance isn't normally done. It's easier just to rip it down and start over fresh.
But why do Americans move around so much?
You can blame the job market. In America, it's much more common to hop around between companies. The opposite is true in the European Union. The World Bank reports that the median tenure of the average U.S. employee was 4 years, while
That's
the
it?
median tenure in the EU was 10 years.
That's a huge thing in like different jobs in the U.S. where like people want a raise from their employer and they're like, we can give you 1% raise or whatever. And then they're like, oh, but if I just go to this other company with the experience I already have, they're going to pay me an extra 20%. Why wouldn't I not just go to them? So their employers don't value them enough.
There's like a surprising amount of people, like it's common to know somebody who like moves to another state to get a new job for a big raise or whatever. They'll like even move across the country. It's like a really, really common thing, which is apparently not the case in Europe. That people aren't like, I'm moving to Poland today for a new job opportunity.
Part of that culture of constantly shifting jobs is moving to a new area to take that job, meaning you've got to move houses. So, short story.
This is like the set for every horror movie right here.
Yeah.
Moving in.
So, short story, blame George Washington Snow. Long story, blame the shifting U.S. job market.
Interestingly, we aren't the only country in the world to have famously flimsy houses.
We share that title with Japan, and they're actually worse than us.
Houses in Japan depreciate like cars do in the US.
After 20 years, a Japanese house typically loses all of its value and is, on average, torn down just 30 years after being built. According to a paper by the Nomura Research Institute, it's a major obstacle to affluence for Japanese families. The collective waste is approximately an annual loss of 4% of Japan's total GDP. The total amount of new houses built in Japan every year is on par with the United States, despite having only a third of its population, which is shrinking every year. 87% of Japan's home sales are new homes, compared to only 11 to 34% in Western countries. Part of the reason for this is that the Japanese love new things. Their frequent and severe earthquakes make old houses, cheap wood frame houses from the same post-war boom we had, dangerous and without proper seismic reinforcement. It's considered futile to invest in their maintenance or try to improve them. That's especially reinforced, the Nomura Research Institute says, by concepts of impermanence in the Shinto religion. Take a look at Issei's Grand Shinto Shrine, a huge religious site that is rebuilt from scratch every 20 years.
Unfortunately, it's very expensive when you apply that same principle to houses.
Americans wanted cheap homes to fulfill their dreams of home ownership after World War II. But the tricks that contractors used to make that happen have made it easy for us to view homes as disposable and unworthy of repair. But times could be changing. A recent trend that hasn't unseated wooden framing yet is modular or prefabricated homes. Modular homes are constructed in sections away from the building site and then put together on the property.
Why is that a trend? Probably because buying traditional homes is so expensive now in the US. So people are buying Amazon homes and stuff like that.
Whatever's the most affordable. I mean, it's not like a lot of Americans choose to a certain type because they're like, oh, I like this one because it falls apart easier. It's like, it's their only choice that's affordable.
But they're actually framed with 8 to 10% more wood, so they're extra strong for transportation, and are designed to be sturdier than regular homes. Instead of nails and screws, walls are connected using joints and strong glues. It's a method that has become increasingly popular for making tiny homes, but hasn't managed to beat out balloon framing on the most important thing to contractors: price. Modular homes sell for less than regular homes, even though they can be slightly cheaper to make, so contractors avoid them in favor of more profit.
If Americans decided to
Always.
stay put in one home and invest in it, that might change.
But the cheap efficiency of wooden framing and the necessity of moving to advance one's career are hard lures to resist,
Very sad.
especially when everyone else is doing it.
So I suppose you can really just blame it on trying to keep up with the Joneses.
How many times have you moved in your life? Let
It's
us
the
know in the
Joneses'
comments.
fault.
Yeah, dang Joneses.
So, I mean, it's very interesting. It kind of boiled down to kind of what you'd expect. It's they're made out of wood because wood is cheaper and quicker to build with, so the building companies can make more money.
Yeah, profits, profits, profits. Although she didn't say, she said capitalism's not the only reason. It basically was the only reason in the end.
It always is the reason in the end.
Dang capitalism.
Why is the U.S. healthcare so expensive? Capitalism.
Capitalism.
And politicians being bought by the healthcare companies. Just all the same crap. But very interesting. If you want a longer home and don't want to buy a house 11 different times, apparently, according to this, live in Europe.
Yeah, and apparently you'd save some money on your electric bills and your heating and stuff like that because it retains the heat better.
And if it starts on fire, you'll have 4 hours to get out.
That's a lot more time than 1 hour.
See you in the next one. Bye.